our webinar regarding office utilization and COVID-19. Thank you very much for joining. I think we will be starting now. If anybody will join later, then that won't be a problem. So great that you all could make it today. Some channel information before we start. So this webinar will be recorded, just that you're aware of that. And if you have any questions, please use the chat function or the questions and answer function so that we will be able to see your question and of course give them or address them with an answer. With me today is Sabine E. and my name is Stefan Fust. I'm the head of sales at Locatee. So I'm in close contact with a lot of our customers and prospects that are in this special time facing new challenges in the office space, of course. And as I said, with me is Sabine A. Maybe Sabine, you want to present yourself shortly?
Sure. I'm a customer success manager at Locatee, which means that I do support our customers with all questions they have product related. And as we have a workplace analytics tool, also all questions, data and data analysis related. And I used to work in corporate real estate myself as a real estate manager for a European portfolio of a larger corporation. Before that, I was also in facility management, so I know a bit of the challenges that corporate real estate is facing.
Okay, cool. Thank you also very much, Sabine, for joining today. So what we will be talking, or the questions we want to answer today, are just general guidelines. So one question we want to talk about is what has changed the way we at Locatee, how Locateers work, how have our customers reacted, and what are they planning to do. And finally, what do we see as the mid and long-term effects on office space and data insights in real estate in general, but of course with office portfolios specifically. So I mean, if I start with my experience, what has changed here at Locatee, I personally was surprised that I was able to really smoothly transition from office work in the office to work from home. I generally never did home office. I was always under the impression that I can work more effectively in the office. But I really have to say now with this experience, there's a lot of things that can be done much more efficiently, in my opinion, at home, but I still miss some things. So I was more the guy that if I have a question to one of my fellow colleagues, I would stand up, maybe go shortly to engineering, and then I go to the operations team discussing a certain topic, and then just work again on my to-do list. And that's something now, these like short exchanges to like resolve a blocking point or answer a question. It's much harder to do at the moment, and that's something I'm really looking forward to when we hopefully soon will be able to go back to the office. How have you, Sabine? How have you experienced this time now at Locatee and working from home?
Yeah, I have similar experiences to you. I'm a little different is that I did take the opportunity to work every other Friday from home, which we were always allowed to do. But I was really surprised at how swiftly we changed from one day to another to working fully remotely, and even transitioned like workshop sessions online, which at the beginning seemed a bit bizarre, but then in the end really worked out well, actually. What I think is really important is that we keep a sense of community, and we have a lot of efforts in place to get us together at regular coffee breaks, and we organize a pop quiz every other week, and also we do still do yoga over lunch breaks together. So I think that helps really to keep us together as a company.
How do you do yoga together over lunch? So with the webcam and the laptop, or how does that work? I have never joined. I've never joined, to be honest.
Yeah. It's it's a video session basically.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I experienced the transition is very smooth, and I think that's, I mean, one great advantage that Locatee as a startup has, like with nearly 40 employees, compared to our customers that have a couple of 10,000 employees or more, is that we were like born digitally as Locatee. So we just can take our laptops and work from anywhere. That's not a problem at all. So I think that really helped us to really just start working from home only, and it wasn't a big problem at all.
Yeah, there's not that. Also, we don't have, as you said, our customers usually have many more employees. There's not that big of logistics behind it, so everybody could grab alternately stuff from the office if they had something there, and you didn't really have to organize for thousands of people to get their PCs and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's true, and I think that's a great segue talking about customers. I mean, you in your role, you're in contact with most of our customers on a regular basis. What are like one or two of the things that you have seen how customers have reacted in this extraordinary times?
Yeah, so when this whole thing started, we had kind of a phase one where some customers took the approach to tag teams. So they would split their teams and have one team work on Monday, the next one on Tuesday, and then they change again so that they could reduce population in the office substantially. And also they'd use then actually our data to monitor, for example, that they wouldn't reach certain thresholds, and also that canteen wouldn't be overpopulated, because by then major events or gathering of crowds was already prohibited. And then a second phase, and for some that was what they did from the very beginning, was nobody was at the office. And it became a huge compliance and security topic to make sure that really nobody is on premise. So they actually increased reporting periods. So some of our customers actually report weekly that there is no one in the office, using the data that we get them with the utilization.
Okay. I mean, I only work with a handful of customers directly. And I mean, generally what I've seen now is that the topic of having data about office occupancy and space utilization, it used to be really a corporate real estate topic or maybe a facility management topic. And now it's something that is more like business critical, and it involves the whole organization on customer side. So for corporate real estate, it has gotten easier to get the resources they need, get also the funding they need to somehow gather this data that they need for like data-driven decisions now in this pandemic reactions and pandemic planning they have to do, be that Locatee or be that another product. I think that's something that I don't want to say helped, but it for sure accelerated the trend, or maybe made it easier for corporate real estate to get the funding, get the resources to really gather these insights that they need now. more than ever.
Totally agree with you. It's there is a wider acceptance actually for that data compilation now, because people who were skeptical before now see what the advantage really is of getting anonymized data without having to intrude on privacy of employees to see where they are, or that they are not in the office, because that's what all that you need to report on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, the most interesting thing happened. We have one global customer working in the pharma industry, where we already had rollouts on 2 continents. And now, because they really need data to start planning the return to the office, like in a phased approach, especially in APAC now in the first step, and then Europe and North America in the second step, and also to plan maybe for a second wave or third wave, so future pandemic measures that they may have to take. They're really interested to push now the solution to all their global office buildings. So that's nearly 1,000 buildings where they then would have insights how their office buildings are utilized on a daily basis with one click. For like a regional portfolio, they can have a look at down to a single building. So to really see, okay, which buildings can we still close, which do we have to reopen, and also have an eye on that, not from today to tomorrow the occupancy or the space utilization is back to the pre-pandemic time, so that they're really able to have this phased return to office approach.
Yeah, which I guess leads us to what's going to happen next.
Yeah, true. How do you see that? I mean, the mid and long-term effects. I mean, you have like over 10 years experience in real estate. How do you see that this pandemic is influencing the whole real estate area?
Yes, so I think short and midterm is probably finding a way back into operating mode, which we'll probably see a phase 1 approach coming back with encouraging social distancing within the office once we're allowed to go back to work again, with planning work shifts again and team office days, and then also optimizing certain operations in facility management, like cleaning, obviously, and providing sanitizer, soap, and all these things that might have increased in demand in the meantime. And then the other things really for the mid and long term, what is that now, as we're forced to work from home, we've all seen that it's possible. So the office as a space where we gather to work will be revisited for its importance. And there's really going to be a question around how much office do companies need to work efficiently, and what kind of environment do employees really work most efficiently? As you said before, you realize there's some things you actually can do better at home than you can in the office. So the flexible workplace concepts will have to be adapted to the experiences that we now gathered. And for that, again, I think it will be really important to start with data compilation and analysis of that then.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that the need for data that has arose, we will stay. And in general, the whole meta trend towards flexible working, new ways of working from home will accelerate. So the office space will be questioned and with a potential economic downturn on our hands, I think that the cost pressure in general, but especially on corporate real estate, will rise. So they're really having or being able, and that leads me back to having the data insights about your corporate, your real estate portfolio. It really help to argue towards management, top management, C-level, which locations you really need and why, for all the reporting purposes, also the financial side. And at the same time, talking about employees really being able to provide a workspace where they love to go to work. So it's not that they have to, but they really like and love to still work from the office. I mean, there are a lot of freelancers and maybe small companies that they pay co-working providers like WeWork and all the others, so that they have a place to go and to be part of community and have this like little chats over a coffee. And I think that will still remain. And I think that the focus there from corporate real estate will shift more towards workplace strategy, workplace strategist, workplace concept. So be really able to provide a benefit, to provide added value to an employee and to the whole company.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything to add, Sabine, from your side?
I think currently no. Should we open up the floor for questions?
Sure. Do you have any questions? So asking all attendees, if you have any questions, please just write them in the chat in the Q&A. We'll wait a couple seconds for you to make up your minds.
Yeah, maybe in the meantime, I don't think that the office is going to disappear. We're not going all go to work from home, because if you look at co-working spaces as an example, people who are freelancer are going there voluntarily, and they're actually paying to work there. So there is something from the office that you get that can't be catered for in a home office.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I see the same. I mean, just looking at myself, I also looking forward to join all Locateers back in the office. Maybe not 5 days a week, but 2 or 3 days a week, combined with 2 or 3 days home office per week. I think that's something that will be the future at Locatee, and also the future at a lot of other offices. Okay, so we have a very interesting question. So how will the future workplace look like? Less desks and more lounges. So I think, Sabine, from your background, how do you see that? How will it look like?
Yeah, so short term, I'm quite sure that it's going to be less desks. I've already seen mock-ups actually of offices where they spread out the desks and actually marked on the carpet, like in circles around the desk, how close you are allowed to go to someone. So that's the short term. And then long term, as I think people will increasingly probably work more flexibly, you can reduce the number of desks and therefore increase alternate work settings that you're providing. So actually, if I look at myself, when I'm working from home, I'm not sitting at the desk the whole day as I wouldn't in the office, because we do have couches there and like bar stools on a higher table. So I do change work settings at home. And I think that people will expect that from their workplace in the future as well, that they can choose more flexibly. Do I really want to sit at a desk, or do I want to change to something that's more comfortable and has more a vibrant feeling to it? But that's been the trend right now as well. It will depend, of course, on the kind of branch you're in. Some that are very traditional don't accept it that much, and others, on the contrary, expect that kind of freedom to have.
Okay. Do you see that like this trend will also accelerate, or like that you give more distance to your employees, that this will remain for the next couple of years, even after the pandemic?
Well, that's really that's going to be difficult also, because office also has a cost component, and if you have an actually increasing workforce, you still have to provide more spaces. So I don't think that density factors will completely be abandoned once this is over. So people will be allowed eventually to come closer again, and you have to be cost aware in building an office. So yeah, it will not be completely intensified somehow.
Mm-hmm. I mean, talking about metrics and KPIs, do you think that we'll see the rise of like other KPIs and metrics? I mean, often today it's like square feet or square meters per employees or per desk. Do you think that we'll see other metrics gain more relevance in the future?
Yes, I think that sharing ratio will get more attention. As I've said, because of more flexible working. Also, companies will be more interested in, I'd say, soft factors of the office, like mobility patterns. So where do employees choose to work if they can? So these are two of them. And then also ratios actually of desks towards meeting rooms and ancillary spaces.
Okay. I see you have another question. So the question is, after the crisis, how quickly are companies willing to spend resources? So could be money, budget, or personal resources on occupancy tracking topics. So I would take this question. You, of course, Sabine, can add your thoughts, but I think at the moment, what's really critical is the realization that tracking occupancy data can be business critical, especially now, short and midterm, to really be able to be compliant with like local regulation. So, I mean, even here in Switzerland or also in Germany, we have per region different rules you have to obey. And how do you want to control that without having occupancy data? So that's one thing, short and midterm. And I think long term, the occupancy data will be business critical, because there will be more pressure on the bottom line of a company. So also on COVID real estate to save money, but at the same time offer like this new work experience, which will be a combination from like the office work and home office. And therefore you also will need to have data if you want to really do that on a portfolio level. What is your take on this, Sabine?
I think that companies are actually seeing the necessity of these occupancy data now more clear than ever, and that's why I think that corporate real estate will be able to have access to resources and budget more easy than before, because the argument is so much more graspable of why you would need it and what needs to be done than it has before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, I mean, at the moment, it's nobody questions that you need data, which has been a completely different topic only a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So that's really a big game changer, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll take one final question from Philip. He asks which key points, features, or KPIs of our platform, of the Locatee platform, do you see helping the most with COVID-19 and the reaction to COVID-19? So which data is used the most?
Yeah. I see that the key feature customers are using is our timeline, because there you see over time how utilization develops in the office. So you can really look week by week, and you could see in March when people stopped going to the office. And then there, what they report on mostly is peak utilization, because the peak shouldn't cross a certain threshold, which is super, super low for the time being, like, I don't know, 10 or 20% at the most. And then another feature that's been helpful is actually the heat map. This is where we show on a floor plan which work areas are occupied the most and the least. And yeah, in contrast to what you'd usually look for, you wouldn't pinpoint to the areas that are least occupied, but you would look if there were certain areas where people would come together and build a crowd, because you would want to avoid that. Mm-hmm. Have you seen something different?
No, I think that summarizes it quite well. Yeah, so timeline, really being able to having the insights on maybe on a whole region. We also have a great blog article on our website where we compare visually how in the different parts of the world the average utilization really dropped, and how you already see how in APAC, in Asia, the average utilization is already rising again. Something that we will experience also in Europe and North America, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So really having just this general information, be that on a regional level or also down to one single building, to, as you said, avoid overcrowding, especially at the moment, is for sure one of the KPIs or insights that is used the most at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, thank you very much for attending. We are Locatee, a workplace analytics solution. If you're interested in more information about us, you can always contact us to get more information. Locatee works without additional hardware, additional sensors. Locatee enables you to translate your data from your IT network into continuous and real-time insights for COVID real estate and facility management, as I said, without the need to install additional sensors. So in that case, if there are no more questions, again, thank you very much to everybody for your attendance and your great questions. If there is anything that you would like to know afterwards, as I said, just contact us. We're always happy to schedule a call, not a meeting at the moment, I'm afraid, but of course, we're happy to take 30 minutes or an hour to go into more detail if you have additional questions. Said that, again, thank you much for attending. Have a great day and hopefully talk to you soon.
Speak soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.